I'd like to thank you for being here and listening to me today. I'm here to tell you something today that is going to surprise some of you and may not surprise the others. That is the fact that European martial arts is still alive today. By that, I mean classical European sword fighting. I know that brings many things to your mind, many images. It did the same for me, and I'm sure it will continue to captivate many children from this point out. Well, they're in luck because I'm here to tell you it is a sport. I was a one-time national competitor and I do teach it today. So I'm here to give you a little bit of insight on what I know about modern sword fighting. Alright, number one, this is a sport. Let me tell you who is attracted to this sport. People are attracted to this sport who are attracted to the more non-traditional sports. Trust me, not everybody wants to run, throw, or catch a ball. Not everybody wants to do it with a team, and not everybody wants to play a sport that doesn't involve blood. I'm just saying there's all different kinds. For any of those people, and I'm not here to judge, this may just be the sport for you. There is actual scoring in this, where at one time this was a life or death event where you could score by the person still standing. There is now actually points involved and everybody lives. That's what makes it a sport. Right now the sport is mainly, the scoring mainly consists of jabs, thrusts, and of course slashes. Yet they live. I would like to stress this to everyone before you leave the class today. A lot of other people who take this up as a sport are more into it for a hobby. This has actually been known as a very good physical rehabilitative sport. Because whereas some other rehabilitative sports like baseball, football, either you're standing still or you're running. You're catching a ball, you're falling down, not always the best. This is actually one of the very few sports that demands constant, low impact motion. There's no running, unless you're running after them, but I suggest you just let them go. This is actually, it builds up both upper body, lower body, and anybody who's had problems in those areas, and as I'm approaching that age, I do understand. Let me tell you, it helps. It really does help. If you want to know how much it helps, I have some resources for you guys to look up at the end of my presentation, and I invite you to look them up and look it up for yourselves. This is both a team and a cooperative sport. Of course, you can take this back through history where cooperative simply meant you were working for a country or the highest bidder, or you were just with very good people. The solo is, well, either you were very good or everyone else fell down. But these are the modern times. Things are different. You can actually have competitive team sword fighting. Think about this. Do you see the beauty I see in this? Of course, for those of you, like myself, who excel at this sport, you're going to want to stay into a solo fight. And that is a thing of beauty when it's done right. Let me tell you about the different styles that there are and who picks them up. There are almost as many different styles as there are nations of the country. Does that make sense? It should, because each country had their own style of swordsmanship. They were very proud of this. Of course, a lot of the styles were very similar to one another, but each country adopted its own form which they felt represented them. So you can actually tell what country someone is from by the way they fight. That's a very impressive thing. From what I found, the way that most people pick their styles out of the hundreds available, number one is popularity. When most people think about sword fighting, they of course think about the Italian fencing. I did too. I find that's the most popular way because that's what most people know. Now, what young man here didn't want to be an English knight when he was watching the movies? I think most did, even if they weren't from England, because they had such pretty armor and Well, you know what I'm talking about. But that led to its popularity, which still maintains its popularity. So popularity would have to be, number one, what people know. Another way that people pick what style they want to learn, I've found, is from their heritage. With the people who have the Norse and the Swedish in their veins, the first thing that they really want to learn, of course, is the Norse styles, which was a winning style. The people with English blood, even if they didn't know about the popularity of the knights, they still want to learn something from the country of their forefathers, which was a very winning style. No matter what country you're from, most of them had some type of fighting style, and their children and their children's children who want to know something about their forefathers and where they're from, this is another way to connect with that. I found that then there's the third class, and this is the class I'm in. The people who choose their styles by its historical significance. If you've done your homework, if you love history as much as I do, you'll find that certain countries kept winning wars. That was no coincidence. Obviously, they had something on their side, and I wanted to know what it is, and there's many people like me. I don't have any German in me, but I noticed from reading my history books that the Germans won. A lot. I found that very interesting. I went out and I found the style, and I fought the style, and now I teach the style, and I can tell you why it's a winning style, but I know why I love it, because they win. And it works for me. And there's a lot of people who do go into it for the historical value. Now let me tell you a little bit, once you choose what style that you want, this is what you can expect. The training. A lot of you are going to be surprised that swords is 99% footwork. I know, hard to believe, but it's true. Remember, you can't get hit if you're not there. You're not there if your feet move fast. You don't get hit if your feet move fast. That's what it comes down to. 99% is footwork. I need you to expect that. Let's talk a little bit about the weapons. You're not going to start off with a cleaver, because that's a bad idea. You remember way back when your mother told you not to run with the scissors? I need you guys to put that idea behind you every day. But I'm not going to start off with that. First, we're going to start off with a bamboo, usually wood. I see that. Either wood, which is a great training tool, just ask the children. Bound bamboo. It absorbs the impact, yet you get the point. It still maintains a lot of the weight and a lot of the gravity that a normal sword does. When you're ready to move up from that, in these modern times, which we're talking about now, the next obvious step is plastic. Let me show you a benefit of plastic. No sharp edges. And yet, you still get the point. Once you learn how to duck, you're 50% there. This will help you. The next stage up is live steel. Just like the name implies, that means metal. I didn't bring an example, for there are so many different styles and you've seen them on so many movies. You need to know what live steel is. It is exactly what you're thinking. But usually when you're training, because remember, the important part is that everyone lives, in training they will take the edge off. That way it is not a killing instrument, but by the time you have live metal in your hand, you should be prepared for it. So I just want to give you guys enough to see if maybe this is for you, if maybe this is something that you've contemplated before, and if you haven't, if maybe this is something that you'll contemplate now. You don't realize how many other sports have evolved from life or death. This is one of the few sports I know that maintains its historical value that way. Baseball, football, a lot of the sports you play now have darker, sinister pasts, but they've buried that over. This hasn't. In my mind, that makes it pure. That makes it a beautiful thing. And this is something that I think people have seen throughout all the ages, because this is what I'm going to leave you with. A quote by Confucius. Yes, the very same Confucius that you find in fortune cookies. Never give a man a sword who can't dance. I like that Confucius guy. I think we could have hung out. Thanks guys for listening. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, go ahead and give me a call at the end. I have a few resources for you guys to check out if you have the time. ISMAC, I-S-M-A-C. It stands for the International Sword and Martial Arts Competition. They're out of Detroit, Michigan. You'll find them all over the country. You can Google it under ISMAC, I-S-M-A-C. Another resource is the Association for Historical Fencing. That's what we call sword fighting now, to keep it clean. Fencing. AHF.com, Association for Historical Fencing. Here in Seattle, we have the Academia de la Espada. They teach historical fencing as well, and I'm very glad to have them in the same city here. And if you have any questions, really all you have to do is go and contact your local Renaissance fair. Even if they don't have the information you're looking for themselves, they know somebody who does, or they can at least find me there. Alright, thanks again for your time. I hope you look into it, and I'll see you on the battleground.